What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Road to 1000 ELO. Now, unfortunately, I have played the two games I'm about to show you. However, the audio was not working, so I'm having to basically show you the games, show you my thought process whilst doing the voiceover, so you won't be able to see my raw thoughts. So yeah, I do apologize for that. But again, I hope everyone's had Merry Christmas. I hope everyone's had a very nice holiday. Hope everyone's looking forward to the new year as well. But without further ado, I will get through this game with you right now. So let's get on the board. We have started with black pieces. My opponent started with d4, which I have decided to replicate, and I've also played d4. They have then played knight to c3. Attacking my pawn, so I simply defended my pawn with f6. So then my opponent started playing some interesting triggering, basically opening. So I decided to develop my second knight. They have struck with the center, and I was basically, my thoughts were to either push, but then I realized this wouldn't have been good for me in case they took with tempo on the knight, and I didn't want to take in case there was some tricks. So what I ended up doing instead was basically just pushing my pawn. I know I was still able to take, but I didn't want basically to take and then for them to retake and still have the same structure. So I just thought I will let them take first and then see where what can happen. So they took and then I took back as well. Um, and then they decided to pin, and I wasn't sure how to deal with it. Basically, I had two thoughts in my mind. I either had pushing my bishop to d7 or pushing the pawn to a6. And as you were able to see, I've decided to go with pawn to a6 because I felt this move was a lot more forcing, because obviously you don't want to lose your bishop to a pawn. So they ended up taking um, my knight with the bishop, and I took back with the pawn. Now, looking back, I'm not a huge fan of having a double file on C, double C pawns. However, in my mind, it basically opened up my rook to be able to target down the B file if I wished to do that. So then they decided to bring another bishop, and this time I had castling in mind, so I thought I can't castle this side. So what I decided to do instead was basically use my bishop to get myself out of the pin. They didn't end up taking. Instead, they decided to target my bishop with the queen, and I simply castled, basically to get out of trouble. And I was also thinking if they had some sort of double attack ideas, even though my knight is there, um, I was being protected. And if they wanted to take the knight, I was able to take back um, with the bishop and have a pretty strong bishop in mind as well. So they decided to move their pawn to f4, which I wasn't quite sure what that move was doing. So I moved my rook in the middle. Basically, I saw his queen in the middle, and I thought there's a very good chance of me winning this queen. All I had to do was potentially move the bishop. So he moved the knight and basically didn't see my plan. So I moved the bishop to basically target his queen, knowing his queen was pinned. So basically, he took and I took back and I won the queen. Um, Another idea I could have had, now looking back at it, was to potentially do this and um, pin his knight. But then I thought I already have a pretty strong move. I didn't want to get into any further complications. Um, so yeah, again, if he was to take, I could take back with the check, and then, whatever he was gonna do, he was gonna do. So yeah, that was the main idea. So I moved my bishop. He ended up taking. I took back. And then he then decided to move the knight back to basically get rid of the pin. I decided to move my rook because my plan was to basically go after this pawn. He moved his king, which was quite strange. And then I decided to basically give him a check. And then he resigned from then on. So that was a pretty nice game to basically get going. Um, so I'll now get into the analysis of the game and we'll see what the engine is saying. Alrighty, so we are now in the analysis board. As you can see, I have got an 80.5 accuracy, way higher than my opponent. Says I have one miss, but I don't think it was that big of a problem. So we started with d4, d5, knight, knight, and then yes, so this was my first big decision, whether to push or whether to take. I decided to push, however, the engine does say that it prefers for me to basically take. I'm not a huge fan of it just because if they decided to take and then target my knight, I'm basically forced to take and then they have the center back, if that makes sense. And yes, I could take back, but then they take back with the queen, or they would have some other ideas, which I wasn't a huge fan of, which is why I basically decided to push the pawn instead. They took, I took, and then basically forced them to do some sort of pin. And as soon as he moved his queen, I thought, okay, his queen in front of the king can't be the best move. So obviously castled. I moved the rook, and then that was a huge blunder because I had a pretty decent attack going. I moved the rook to d6, which the engine doesn't quite like. I think it prefers me to move my rook um to here or here, so be b4 or a3. Um, if we went here, I'm guessing it's one of those where, for example, they take, I take with a check, they block, and then what that means is I do this, and then I'm attacking the rook. That's my understanding of it. But at the same time, putting your rook on this place isn't the easiest to understand, just because it looks like you're giving, sorry, bishop isn't the easiest to do because it looks like I'm giving my bishop away for free, even though I'm attacking his queen. So that's basically the reason why I haven't done that. And then from then on, he basically resigned. So that was a pretty nice game to begin with. I will now show you the game number 2, which I have lost. Yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating game because it's a game I lost because of one move that I've made, and my opponent was quite strong as well. So I will get into this game right now, and we'll see together what went wrong. So in this game again, we had the black pieces. We were playing basically against an 800 rated player, my highest rated player yet. And actually, even though I lost this game, no spoilers ahead, I felt very comfortable and I felt this game was the effort for the taking. Um, so they've played with e4. We have decided to go with the Caro-Kann. So we've done the exchange variation, and as soon as they pinned me, I was a bit unsure what to do. So I decided to basically play bishop to d7 to, um, you know, attack the bishop whilst also getting myself out of the pin. They took, I took back with the queen. He castled. I carried on developing as you do, and I noticed his theme right there was to basically go for my queen. So I moved it. He then went for my queen again. Um, and at this point, I thought, okay, let's try and get rid of the knight, and then maybe we can win the bishop later on as well. He's added another defender. I decided to develop because I wanted to castle. He moved his queen. He took. For some reason, oh yeah, I didn't take here because I realized that was such a good move from him because he won the pawn whilst also attacking my queen. So I feel like I've let myself down here a little bit. So yeah, the game went on. I attacked even more, moved the knight, and then I played some okay chess. Nothing too crazy. I do feel like, in one of those moves, the engine does. I'll get into it when we get into analysis. But I feel like there was one move that I haven't found, which could have been very good for me. Yeah, we carried on playing. Uh, and at this point, I saw him attacking the knight, and I thought, what can I do? You know, I thought if you want to take my knight, I will take your knight. And I didn't calculate him taking with the bishop, and also having it protected. So I kind of fumbled the bag here, and this was a bit of a complications game because I knew he had this defended. He wanted to go for the knight, and basically I got another rook in to defend my knight. He got another attacker, and at this point I wasn't quite sure what to do. So I moved my queen, and then once he took, I took. He was basically attacking um, the pawn with his knight. And my main idea that I saw I had was this bishop going on this diagonal, and I was trying to get my queen over to here to potentially deliver a checkmate. But he took, I took, and then I just feel I got this whole calculations wrong. And as you can see at this point, I was going for the mate because he moved his rook. So I thought, okay, if I just go here, it will be game over. But he's decided to move his pawn, and at this point I wasn't quite sure what to do because I was severely low on time. And from then on he just started giving me checks. And I've done something stupid. Okay, so in this position, the reason why I sacrificed my rook was to go here and then try and win the game. In hindsight, that was a terrible move. And to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure what I would have done. So it was just sort of like a hopeless attack. So yeah, and then basically he ended up trying to get about 1 million queens. So he pushed all those pawns, pawns here, and got a queen. So the game was a little bit boring. And also I lost my queen as well, which was so stupid. Like in this move, I should have just taken. Actually, I'm not able to take. So yeah, it's just one of those games where, because I had very little time, I just crumbled. And that's basically the reason why I play 15 plus 10s, because it gives me more time. But essentially, if we skip a little bit, he ended up getting 4 queens, and it took him quite a lot to mate me. And I was thinking, what can I do to not lose? So I was moving back and forth with my king. I even moved this pawn here, so I had nowhere to go. But this guy, the one thing I noticed was, he's either done this on purpose or he wasn't very good at mating, because he could have mated me like 15 moves earlier. But that wasn't to be. So let's get into the analysis and let's see what the engine is saying, and the critical move that I missed that I think could have won me this game. So if we look at this game, quite frankly, I've had a higher accuracy, even though I got rid of my queen. And so yeah, so he started with the setup. We just did the Caro-Kann. Nothing too crazy here, and you'll be able to see that I actually managed to get a pretty nice advantage. Now in here, looking back, what I should have done was move my queen here, attacking the knight. But instead I've attacked the knight in a different way. So he got the bishop. I put the knight out, basically trying to get some sort of tactics on the board. So yeah, here I castled, which wasn't the greatest of ideas, and I missed a fork. Sorry, he did. So I castled, he took, I moved back. This was an okay move, because obviously my bishop became quite strong. He moved, and basically, instead of putting the knight, what I should have done, sorry, that's his best move. In here, what I should have done instead was move the pawn, because that wins me material. And it's something that I've not noticed. And this move by itself, I feel like could have been a huge difference, because if you look, before I even play it, like as soon as he moved his bishop, I had a you know 3.35 advantage, and this move would have secured me either a bishop or a knight. So yeah, very disappointed I didn't manage to see it. But again, it's those small tactics that play a huge part in these games. Um, and then here I've just made a huge blunder by trying to go for his knight, and I just didn't clock that he was attacking it twice. I didn't clock this. I don't know how. And I spent quite a long, I spent good 30 seconds thinking about this move, so I should have seen this. So in close positions, I felt I haven't done very well, and you know, I found this move which was okay, but as you can see, it was a lose-lose position for me. Um, and then it was all finished, and as soon as I gave my rook away, by trying to basically get some sort of mating idea, it was difficult. So this game, there's a lot for me to learn, but I think was a very good game for me to also see what to improve on, and try and be a little bit better and taking more time, and not rushing and doing a bit more puzzles, will definitely help. But yeah, we got to see two black pieces today. I thought I played very well in the first game. In the second game was a lot more close. Now this guy that I played with was 800 elo, so basically 200 points rated higher. But again, I do feel like I had a chance to win, because if we move back a few moves, sorry, quite far back. If we play the game through, I've had an advantage. I've had a way for me to basically do something good. And in here, I should have just taken, basically attacking his queen, but also it's a check, which means he has to react to it by taking, and then the game continues, and we can think of what to do from then on. I'm also seeing the pushing, attacking the bishop even more, and his bishop's close to being stuck. So it's frustrating, because you see those tactics later on, and you're thinking, "Oh, I should have done this. I should have done a lot better." But it's a game like the one I had where I played King's Indian Defense, which was very close. So when it comes to close positions, I definitely feel want you to get better. But nonetheless, I hope you guys have enjoyed those two games. I will post this today, so I'm actually filming it on the day that they will be posted. Um, so yeah, thank you again for your support. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I am trying to grow this channel as much as I can, and I've even started a TikTok, so I'm trying to do as much content as possible. So thank you again for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.